fantastic aim in 2018. Now, so how did I get involved with this campaign? Well, some members approached me from the Carluke Rotary Club with the idea about how to get parliamentary backing, and I was very happy to oblige. And that decision was made all the easier by the massive cakes brought to me from the Kilkenny bakery, who were brought to the office. Now, if anyone's not from this area, the meringues are like the size of footballs, and the Eclairs the size of the bottom of a broom head. So that gives you an idea of the kind of the sweet talking that was going on there with Carluke Rotary Club to help us get involved. And what struck me though was the simplicity of the idea. Peter mentioned that in his presentation. Linking armed personnel who are thousands of miles away from home with their loved ones and enabling that very basic need for families to stay in touch. Now, understand, as Peter said as well, that when considering how to help the armed personnel, that the food parcels were ruled out because they were too bulky for the MOD to deal with, and that phone calls were the most prized commodity for the troops. And that, coupled with the limited time that troops have to make a phone call, makes this initiative very important indeed. And I just want to thank Peter for setting out the extensive planning and work that has gone on by Carluke Rotary Club and others in undertaking to make that aspiration, a very simple aspiration though, a reality. And I also think it shows that the Rotary Club in Carluke were thinking of these brave men and women in a way that saw beyond them as being soldiers, but as brothers, sisters, dads, uncles, sons and daughters. This simple idea is big on impact. It benefits not just the soldiers, but the wider family themselves, does wonders for morale, and what a wonderful Christmas present as that woman in the news clip described. Now, my family have no real history with the military. We've all been, as I've been saying to Jim, we've all been farmers and shepherds. But even as a small child, I remember the first Gulf War, and it was my uncle who was serving in the RAF, was out in Saudi Arabia, and I remember just how important his calls home were for my family, my auntie and uncle. And I also know that my husband, when he was a wee boy, tells a story about his dad, who was also in the RAF and was stationed in the Ascension Isles. And when Graham called Shetlander home, he couldn't hear the voice of Elizabeth, my mother-in-law. Now, many may say that it's a good thing not to be able to hear the voice of your wife, but nevertheless, he couldn't hear the voices of his wife and his two wee bairns, and so just had to fill in all the gaps with news from the Ascension Isles. Now, he was thousands of miles away, but despite that broken and one-way communication, he still valued that opportunity to make some sort of contact. Now, thankfully now with the technology improvements that this initiative calls can be two-way and can give comfort and support. And it's this basic need for that contact which, regardless of the technology, remains a constant and is what this Rotary Club has helped to improve. So with all those positive benefits, I was absolutely delighted to get parliamentary support for this initiative. And I was also honoured to be part of the fantastic campaign and to see the fantastic presentation that from Peter about how it has grown and grown and grown. Now, I helped to organise the reception in the Parliament, and I was kindly helped by Joe Fitzpatrick, who was one of the MSPs who you saw in the clip there, who is the MSP for Dundee West. Because at that time when the actual parliamentary reception came about, I was in Wishaw Maternity Hospital giving birth to my boy. So I was pleased that it was a good success, even though I couldn't be there in person. I also lodged the motion, I'm going to put this down, it seems to be, yeah. I also lodged a motion in Parliament, and that gained cross-party support. And I'm pleased to see that when I look back and who supported that motion, that my colleague Brian Adam had signed it as well. Now that's special for me personally because Brian was one of our parliamentary candidates and he sadly passed away at the start of this year. So when I was remembering my involvement with this campaign, it was quite nice to be able to see Brian has been part of that. He's lent his backing to this campaign. Now, as we've heard from Peter, this Calls for Heroes, it's been on national news, it's had press attention, and has even had the support and the backing of the big man himself, Alec Salmond, who said in his letter, "Calls for Heroes is a tremendous campaign. This simple act of giving more time to troops will mean so much to families and friends of serving personnel. The Rotary Club of Carluke should be proud of their efforts, and I hope your success continues, and I'm pleased to add my support to Calls for Heroes campaign." And I think you'll be very pleased to know just how much this campaign has grown and grown. It's not just about Scottish
Soldiers, the UK soldiers, and many more of them are being held, with what started as a very small, basic idea from Carluke Rotary Club. So it has been a big journey and it's been a success, and I'm pleased to have listened to the update. Again marks out Carluke Rotarians as very special in that you're the first to have received the Queen's Award, and you're also the vanguard of this important initiative touching the lives of so many brave soldiers and their families. And I'm glad that it is spreading across the country. I'm glad that we can help the Rotary Club help more of those genuine heroes out in conflict across the world. And with talk of more military action around the world, unfortunately it seems like there will be a continued need for this initiative. I hope there's not, but actually, it looks like that is going to, these things are going to always be needed. So thank you very much for letting me be part of this project. I was proud to do a very, very small bit to help you out. And I thank you, though, for all the work that you've done, the Rotarians in Carluke, the other Rotary clubs across the country who have lended their hand and their expertise to this project. You've done a phenomenal amount of work, and as Nan described, you have changed lives, truly changed lives. And I think that's something very special indeed. I think we should be very proud about how many lives you've helped and how many families, how many kids, how many children have been touched by the generosity of spirit, the hard work, the endeavour, because so often ideas just remain as being ideas, but you've had the tenacity, the gumption to go that wee extra mile and to make this a reality. So for that, I'm truly grateful that you've allowed us to be part of that. You deserve our congratulations. I'm very proud to have been MSP who has represented this area where it all began, and I'll continue to lend my support, make sure many more MSPs, many more government ministers, many other elected representatives, or whoever we can let know about this work that's going on. It's important work, it's phenomenal dedication that you've shown, and I'm proud to be here and wish you many more years of success in this great endeavour, so thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, before I move on to introduce District Governor Kate Keeter, I wouldn't want you to leave here this evening at the end of the night thinking, what a smooth running event, went perfect, work to the letter. And before Aileen has the opportunity to kick under the table for not reading her bio, her introduction, so as you all know who exactly she is, I would just like to now introduce I couldn't have you going to make things around too smooth. I should have mentioned you that Aileen Campbell, MSP for Clydesdale, was born in Perth on 18th May 1980. So she's a wee youngster here now. Aileen grew up in her parents' tenant farm and attended Collis Primary School and Perth Academy before graduating with an ME, joined honours degree in politics and economics and social history at the University of Glasgow. She started a career in publishing by working as an editor for Keystone, a construction magazine. In 2003 was editorial assistant on the pro-independence newspaper, The Scottish Standard. Before her election to Parliament, Aileen also worked for Nicola Sturgeon in 2005 and Shona Robinson on 2006 as a parliamentary assistant. Aileen was first elected to the Scottish Parliament on 3rd May 2007 and is a list member for the south of Scotland. She was re-elected as the MSP for Clydesdale at the 5th of May 2011 election, and Aileen has been appointed as the Minister for Children and Young People in Scottish Government. Aileen is married and lives in Biggar with her husband and her young son Angus. I should have said that before Aileen was introduced, so just to take you in. But now it gives me great pleasure to introduce our District Governor, Kate Keeter. However, I've got Kate's notes ready here. I'm going to do it twice. Kate Keeter lives in Linlithgow with her husband Ian, who's accompanied her here tonight. They have 2 grown-up daughters. Kirsty, who lives in Linlithgow, and her husband Antonio, and Aileen, who has been living and working in London since 2006. Kate has a degree in computer science. She studied computing, but it was still a science and not something everyone does anyway. After a number of years working as a computer programmer, systems analyst and IT manager, Kate and colleagues set up an IT support system business. After 6 successful years in business, the company was merged for a second time into a larger business, at which time Kate agreed to be bought out. So that shows that she's got plenty of money. She then went on to set up and run a couple of other small businesses, followed by 5 years as a business startup advisor working with long-term unemployed people who wanted to set up their own businesses. In 2012, Kate completed a postgraduate certificate in genealogy and associated subject, and has since been appointed as archivist at the Hutchison's Educational Trust in Glasgow. Kate is a member and past president of the Rotary Club of Carluke Rotary and has served the district as communications chairman and webmaster, district secretary and now assistant governor before being elected to serve as governor in 2013-14. Gentlemen, could you show up everyone and welcome, please? Ladies and gentlemen, I say ladies up most of the time they're wrong. I don't know. See, you don't want things just to go too perfect. Go too good there. When we have a Queen's Award for volunteer service, we're allowed to make a wee faux pas. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to join me, please, in welcoming Kate Keefer, District Governor for District 1020.
I think your introduction's longer than my speech, actually. Sorry, you don't get fined at this club. And I won't be back at my own club to be fined here, by the way, President Ian. RIBI President Nan, President Archie, honoured guests, fellow Rotarians, friends. I have great pleasure tonight in actually officially welcoming RIBI President Nan and her husband Dennis to our district. And I'm delighted that I have the opportunity over tonight and tomorrow to show off what we've been doing in this district. But before I show off any more, Nan, when I met her, very proudly showed me a badge, a pin that she was wearing on her jacket, that she got from the Isle of Skye Club, which of course is not in our district. So, Nan, please can I give you one of our district pins to wear on your jacket, along with that one. It is a particular pleasure to be here in Carluke, hearing about one of our district's most successful projects, Cause for Heroes. This project is, of course, only one of many projects that Carluke Club carries out. And Carluke is only one of 60 clubs in the district, all of whom are really busy doing really an awful lot of things. They're doing so much that it's almost impossible to list them. The note I said, almost. A quick look through our district magazine or through each of the club's websites shows the huge number of activities that are carried out each year by the clubs in 1020. They all support a huge range of communities, both at home and overseas. For example, gala days, food banks, eye clinics, sand dams, senior citizens outings, concerts, coffee mornings, golf days, wine tastings. You engage with young people through all the